We chant the first verse. Tapobhikshina papanam shantanam vitaraginam mumukshunam apekshyoyam Atmabodho vidhiyate. So three bodies we saw, gross body, subtle body and causal body, and how Atma is not any of these three. Now we go to the 15th one, shloka. Panchakoshadi yogena tattanmaya iva sthitah Shuddhatma Nilavastradi Yogena Sphatiko Yatha. So these three bodies are also elaborated as 5 koshas. Kosha means a sheath. A sheath is that in which we, suppose a sword is there, it is put in the scabbard. So the sword is covered by the covering, the scabbard. In the same way, the sheaths, as though they cover the Atma, and they are 5. They are like layers. Like how we wear layers of clothes, like that there are layers of matter. So the grossest is called Annamaya Kosha, which is our body. Then Pranamaya, which is the mind, which is the vital energy. Then Manomaya, which is the mind, emotions. Then Vijnanamaya, which is the intellect and the thoughts. And then Anandamaya, which is the bliss sheath. These 5 koshas, as though they cover the self. So panchakoshadi yogena tattanmaya ivasthitaha. Atma as though appears to have become one with it. Tanmaya means to become one. How does it appear to become one with it? So identified with the body, though Atma is all-pervasive, Atma has no gender, identified with the body, it appears that Atma has become this. So one says, I am a man, I am a woman, I am tall, I am dark, I am young, I am handsome, I am old, all that. But that is the condition of the body, Annamaya Kosha. That is not condition of Atma. But when they come together, it appears it has become one with it. The example given here is Shuddhatma Nilavastradi Yogena Sphatiko Yatha. So Sphatika is a colorless crystal. When a blue cloth, Nilavastra, blue cloth is brought near it, what will happen? It will look like it is blue. The blue color of the cloth gets superimposed on the crystal. The blue color doesn't belong to the crystal. But when they come together, that blue cloth as though lends its color to the crystal. Now the crystal appears blue. In the same way, Atma is not conditioned by any of the 5 koshas. But when the Atma enlivens these 5, it appears as though these 5 which are inert, they become alive. Life comes from the Atma. And the qualities of these 5 appear to condition the Atma. So now Atma, which is all-pervasive, becomes one gross body. Atma is beyond hunger and thirst, but identified with Pranamaya Kosha, Atma takes up the attributes, I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am sweating, I am crying, I am vomiting, all that. Identified with the emotion, Atma assumes the emotional states. Happy, sad, those states the Atma appears to have taken. Same way identified with the buddhi. So some ideologies, so I am a capitalist, I am an atheist, I am a anything, Democrat, whatever. I am uncompromising in my punctuality, anything, value systems, all those are dependent on the intellect. Atma appears to have taken up all those. and then bliss sheath. So how one experiences bliss in the state of deep sleep, or in the waking state, the enjoyment that we experience, the pleasure that we experience. So one says that I am experiencing all that. So Atma, when identified with this, appears to have taken up qualities of the panchakosha, but what has to be done? It has to be only separated. The moment we take the cloth away, the crystal again becomes clear. So one thing to know here is that even when the cloth was there, the crystal was not blue actually. The color was only superimposed. Crystal has not taken up that color. Crystal is reflecting that color. So if that is removed, then that crystal again comes back to its nature, true self. Same way here, because of identification with the panchakosha, it feels that we have become the panchakosha. Even when it is there, right now also our nature is that immortal, absolute truth. No change in that. Shuddhatma nila vastradi yogena sphatiko yatha. So the meditation that one has to do is this, that even at this moment the 5 koshas is not me. They are only like the blue cloth. I am the crystal which is colorless. I am the pure consciousness. Body, mind, intellect and the 5 koshas, they go through whatever they go through. So this is one aspect which is a Vedantic aspect of this. One nice psychological aspect of this also is what we call in psychology as reflected glory. That the glory doesn't belong to you, glory belongs to somebody else. But you are associated with them, so you bask in their glory. That is called reflected glory. Or somebody will say, I am a friend of such and such popular person, or I am his brother, or I am his sister, or anything. The glory is theirs, but you are basking in that. So in the same way, the enlivening factor is of the Atma. But it is appearing as though this body, mind, intellect is doing it all by itself. And so for a Vedantic student, this discrimination is important. Shuddhatma nila vastradi yogena sphatiko yatha. So now remove it means what? If I remove the cloth in that example, it is very easy there to actually take away the cloth. Then the crystal is again seen as colorless. Here what to do? Do I have to remove the body, mind, intellect? No. I have to remove the false identification with the body, mind, intellect. So that's what he said in the next verse, by giving a different analogy of pounding. Vapustu shadi bhikkosaihi. 16th one. Vapustu shadi bhikkosaihi yuktam yuktya atmanamantaram shuddham vivijya tandulam yatha. Vapustu shadibhi koshaihi. This body, etc., is like the husk. Yuktam yuktya avaghatataha. With proper logic, one has to discriminate. Pounding is the discrimination. Atmanam antaram shuddham. When you discriminate, then the pure self within will reveal. Vivichya tandulam yatha. Like how you separate the rice from the husk. So the covering of the rice is the husk and the bran, etc. And what the farmer will do, will take all that and then pound it very hard. When they pound it, then the rice will fall out of it. It will get separated. The husk and the bran, etc. will be put aside. So the rice here is the Atma and the covering is the 5 koshas. Now pounding, in this case of this example, they actually take a stone and then they will pound. You should not misunderstand, oh God, I have to get pounded now. We don't have to do anything to the body, mind, intellect. That's why yuktam yuktya, with the proper logical thinking, one has to separate. And this one has to keep doing throughout. That I am not the body, mind, intellect, I am the Atma. This is only a equipment. That discrimination again and again and again, if I keep doing, as much I can do through the day, that much. And then when I sit for contemplation, at that time specifically, withdraw the attention from everything and know that I am the pure consciousness. So no attention on the body, on the prana, on the mind, on the intellect, on the ego. Withdraw the attention from all. What will remain is Atma only will remain. So this yuktam yuktya happens in two ways. One is the daily life in which I have to do sadhana. To remove, like how in that heart they will hit on the stone, same way, these 5 koshas, each of them bind us. So the body will bind us through laziness. The prana will bind us through indulgence. The mind will bind us through emotion. The intellect will bind through desires. And the bliss sheath also will bind through craving for more and more. Now that pounding has to happen. Meaning I have to get out of laziness, I have to get out of lethargy, selfishness, emotional turbulence. All that I have to do through the day. Atma is not realized unless these are sorted out. With maximum amount of laziness and selfishness and attachment and desire compulsions, I may study Vedanta, but I will not be able to do this pounding. So I will still know that there is rice and there is husk and bran, but the pounding does not happen. Pounding can happen only when I actually get out of these limitations of each of these koshas, and then that person is able to sit and meditate steadily and realize the self. So that is this discrimination. So every level, one sadhana has to be applied, depending on what is my identification. If laziness, lethargy is there, then I have to put up some inspiring goal, push myself to work towards it, get out of it. Or if selfishness is there, then some selfless work, selfless intention, something noble that I can do. Like that, each level one has to find out. And then do the appropriate thing, that is called the pounding. Then that person's mind and intellect, etc., is ready to sit quietly and withdraw and realize the truth. So that is vivichyat tandulam yatha. Now these two examples are connected to the panchakosha. That how the 5 koshas, earlier 3 bodies were given, now the 5 koshas are given. These are 2 models in the Upanishads which are generally used. So some Upanishads will use the model of 3 bodies. And Taittiriya Upanishad that will use the panchakosha model. 3 bodies you will see in the Mundaka Upanishad it will come. Not Mundaka, sorry, Mandukya Upanishad it will come. 3 bodies, 3 states. Different Upanishads will use these. So in a Prakarana Grantha like Atmabodha, these things get introduced so that when we study the Upanishads, we don't have confusion. So 3 states, waking, dream, deep sleep, 3 bodies, gross, subtle, causal, 5 koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. These are all different ways to classify the same thing, the equipment. But different Upanishads will use it in different ways. So Kaivalya Upanishad will say 3 states, 3 bodies. So each Upanishad has its own methodology. So in Atmabodha, both these get introduced. Though Panchakosha is not introduced like how we saw the 3 bodies. 3 bodies were described elaborately. But panchakosha is just indicated through the word panchakoshadi yogena. In the commentary, of course, Gurudev has explained, but he is not, Shankaracharya ji has not explained 5 koshas here. But why this is necessary to know is for this purpose. One is sadhana purpose, how to do the pounding. Second is the deeper understanding when we go to Vedant, so Upanishads, Gita, Brahma Sutra, etc. Then we have to know these terminologies very clearly. Now moving ahead, Atma is all-pervasive, but how to realize that Atma? Though it is all-pervasive, it can be realized only in a prepared equipment. And what is that prepared equipment in which it is realized? So that is said in the 17th one. Sada sarvagatopyatma na sarvatra avabhasate buddhau evavabhaseta svacheshu pratibimbavat. So he says, Sada sarvagato api atma. Though atma is all pervasive, na sarvatra avabhasate. Everywhere it is not experienced. Buddhau eva avabhaseta. It is experienced only in the buddhi. What is the example for it? Svacheshu pratibimbavat. Like a clean mirror. Reflection can be seen in the clean mirror. Now what is the science behind it? So why will I see the reflection in the mirror? Is the reflection only there in the mirror or reflection is everywhere? Where is the reflection? It is a reflecting surface, correct. But is the reflection everywhere or reflection is only seen in the reflecting surface? It is seen in reflecting surface, but is reflection everywhere or not?
Yeah, it's a different form of reflection. One is physical and one is like sometimes reflect on your actions.
Yeah, that is a different aspect. I am right now talking only about the physical reflection. The other one is to reflect on some ideas, thoughts, to derive some learning. That's a different thing. Right now I'm asking physical. So how is it everywhere?
It's only there if a reflecting surface is put in front of you.
Reflecting surface with
Then there's a reflection.
And you can see it only if it's clean.
That is correct.
Reflecting surface for there to be a reflection.
For us,
See what is there. If it is there, only it will reflect.
no, the object of reflection has to be there. That is no doubt. My question is not the object is there. Without object, what reflection one will see? Object has to be there. But is the reflection everywhere or is the reflection only in the mirror?
Only in the pure mind.
No, I will come to that symbolism later. That is correct. In pure mind it will reflect. I am asking at the
Gross level, it's
physical gross level.
There is no reflection. There is no reflection.
Array, what are you saying? In this you can see, no? In this glass you can see your reflection. In this book I can see or not?
Yeah, you can.
But what will be the level of reflection in the book? So reflection is everywhere. Why? Because light, when it falls on a reflecting object, that light will reflect away from the object. That's the basic science. As long as there is a light which is falling on the reflecting object, that reflecting object will reflect everywhere. And we are able to see each other also because the eye sees the reflection inside. And that is inverted reflection, that also. That is inside what happens. Outside, reflection is everywhere. In a wall also reflection is there, on this also reflection is there, but the medium being incapable of reflecting that, we are not seeing that. So in this it absorbs. On the wall it will absorb. On the wall at a certain angle we may see some faint aspect. But in a mirror the medium is absolutely clear, so you see the reflection. So reflection is all pervasive actually. Because light will make that reflecting object reflect everywhere. Only thing is it will not have the right medium, then you cannot see the reflection. Suppose you bring 10 mirrors, or you go into this mirror, what is it called? Mirror house or mirror maze, so many mirrors are there. So you are only one, but then you see yourself as so many. Why? Because there all the mediums are capable of reflecting, so they all are mirrors, and each one will reflect according to its capability. So in some mirror you will find you have become very stunted, in some it will be you have become very tall, in some you have become very, you expand horizontally, in some you will see as it is. So the reflecting medium determines the way the reflection is being seen, but the reflection is everywhere. In the same way, that's why he says, Sada Sarvagato Api Atma. Atma is everywhere. That's why Prahlad was asked by Hiranyakashipu, that is your God everywhere? He said yes. So then he said, is your God in this pillar also? He said, he's there. But pillar being inert, one doesn't experience God as sentiency. But that story there, what does it say? That when he hits the pillar with his mace, and Bhagavan tears it and comes out. Meaning Atma is all pervasive. It is existing everywhere because it is the very essence of space also. Very essence of all the objects, they exist because of the Atma. But it is experienced by us where? Only when the buddhi is sharp. That's why it says buddhau eva avabhaseta. Just like reflection is everywhere, but it cannot be seen everywhere. It can be seen only in reflecting medium. In the same way, Atma is all pervasive. There is no doubt about that. God is all pervasive, Atma is all pervasive. But then why don't I experience it? This reflecting medium here is not clean enough. If that becomes clean, svacheshu pratibimbavat, once the mirror becomes very clean, then one can see. So in the Gita there are 3 examples given of how this Atma and this knowledge of the self is veiled, is covered. Tamasic, Rajasic and Sattvic veiling is there, 3 types of veils, which doesn't allow us to experience the presence of the Atma in us. So the Sattvic veiling is like the smoke which covers the fire. So in the ritual, the Pandit will bring a fan. Earlier they used to do with manual fan. Now they actually bring a small fan and they place it. Whenever as the wood burns, slowly the ash will start covering that wood. Then the fire becomes dim and smoke increases a lot. So they will bring that fan and remove the ash. As soon as the ash is moved away, again the fire becomes bright, smoke comes down. So that is our sattvic desires which veil. All the sattvic attachments, desires for knowledge, desire for peace, desire for sattvic forms of enjoyment, those will cover the buddhi. So they go with very less effort. Buddhi becomes clean very fast. Because the veiling, like the smoke goes down, the moment the fan is brought in, immediately the smoke will go down and fire will come up. Not too much of effort. Second is the dust which covers the mirror. So this mirror which has dust and there is oil, etc., it will not go with a fan. You have to take a cloth, rub it up. Much more effort is required. So the Rajasic desires are the veiling like that, where they will, so the desire for So greed, ambition, attachment to certain people, restlessness to work, all these are the rajasic coverings. Now that doesn't allow the mind to turn within. So much more effort is required. It will not happen only by discrimination. It will be that one has to do seva, one has to remove selfishness. Hard work it is, much more. And then the tamasic covering is like the fetus is covered by the embryo. So that is 9 months it will take to come out. So tamasic coverings are like that. Sometimes one is so dull, lazy, lethargic, procrastinating. Life has to give some few kicks to get that person out. Then slowly one comes out from that state. 3 types of coverings. So when the buddhi has any of these 3, then the Atma doesn't shine forth. Here he says, Swacheshu pratibimbavat. Clear reflection happens only when the buddhi has become clean, purified. Now this reflection only we experience in our heart as I am, I am, I am. The Atma reflecting in the buddhi is the experience of I am. By itself the Atma by itself the buddhi doesn't feel anything because it's inert. By itself the mirror, there is nothing, it's just a medium. The object or the person has to be in front and then the reflection is seen. Now is the reflection equal to the person or reflection different from the person?
That depends on the reflecting surface.
No. How does it depend on reflecting surface?
Different.
No. Reflection is different from the object which is getting reflected, or they are same?
Different.
No, the reflection's quality will depend on the reflecting medium. But my question is the reflecting object. So suppose I am standing in front of mirror. My reflection is in the mirror. Is my reflection different from me or it is same?
Different.
It's different from you.
Different.
It is not you.
It's not you.
It's just an image of you.
That's what I'm asking, that only. It is different or it is the same? Reflection is different, no? If you destroy the reflecting medium, do I get destroyed? No. Simple. So the reflecting medium is the buddhi. Atma reflecting in it is the feeling of I am Mr. So and so. But this I am is completely different from it. So even if this reflection is destroyed, the buddhi gets destroyed, the body gets destroyed, nothing happens to the Atma. Then also I am. Buddhi is right now Buddhu only. Still I am. If Buddhi was not Buddhu, we would have known our true self by now already, no? Swacheshu pratibimbavat, easily we would have known that I am pure consciousness. Right now it is taking so much time for us to understand that where am I? Gross. Buddhu means actually Jada Buddhi, is very gross, not having subtle intelligence. People use the word Buddhu even in terms of lacking common sense. Different ways it can be used. In Vedanta, till we don't realize Atma, we are Buddhu only. Whichever we are, we may be double PhD, triple PhD, but till Atma is not realized, one is Buddhu only. So choice is, you can become Buddhu or you can become Buddha. That's our choice. What will I become? If Swacheshu Pratibimbavat happens, I become Buddha. Because that is my true self. So now reflection is always different from the reflected object. And the quality of reflection may depend on the quality of the reflecting medium. But I am neither the reflecting medium nor the reflection. I am completely different. Same way, I am not the buddhi, I am not the reflecting, the consciousness which is reflecting in the buddhi. I am an independent entity. which remains unaffected by whatever is the quality of the reflection or the quality of the reflecting medium. But still, we have to purify the reflecting medium, because without it we won't recognize. Because some people say, if I am not the reflection, I am not the reflected medium, then why should I even do sadhana? Let the buddhi remain as it is. Today my identification with buddhi is I am that. And that's why I am not able to know myself as Atma. So I have to still do sadhana, I have to still purify the buddhi, but know very well that I am not that. Like we know that I am not the reflection, I am not the mirror, but still to see the reflection, I have to clean the mirror or not. I can't say that I am not going to clean, then I can't see. In the example, the limitation is I am separate and this reflecting medium, the mirror, is separate, and I can see myself in some other mirror also. I need not clean this mirror. That's a limitation of example. Here, so there is only one buddhi. There is no other choice. And the thing is, in this, I have got identified with the buddhi, that I am Mr. So-and-so, functioning through this buddhi. So till that buddhi does not become sukshma, Atma Sakshatkar will not happen. So buddhi has to be made sukshma, even though I am not that. Because today intellectually informative knowledge I can have that I am not the buddhi, I am not the jiva, I am not the mind. But in my behavior, I am still behaving like a individual only who is full of raga and dvesha and who has all the qualities of the buddhi and all the emotions. That I am not able to stand apart. If anger rises in my mind and I am able to say that this is anger in the mind, I am not angry, I am the enlivener of anger at that point in time, and remain detached. Same way, love rises, happiness rises, pride rises, anything. If I am able to stand apart and watch very clearly that this is the play of this mind, I am not this, then this Svacheshu Pratibimbavat has happened. Now that person will be anyway able to realize that I am pure consciousness. So the attention actually has to be shifted from the reflecting object to the reflecting medium to the reflection to the object. Like the sun which is reflecting in the bucket of water, the reflection is different, sun is different. One has to see the sun up there. In the same way, this is the sadhana to be done. If the reflecting medium gets purified, then one is able to say, I am not the reflecting medium, I am not the reflection. Then who am I? I am the reflecting object. The reflection needs a reflecting medium. The reflected object doesn't need a reflecting medium. It remains independent actually. So that way when one discriminates that Atma does not need body, mind, intellect. The body, mind, intellect need the Atma. And my true self is that body, mind, intellect I am not. I am pure consciousness alone. So this verse is for us to understand this very clearly, that though Atma is all-pervasive, it can be realized only in a pure intellect. Now simpler applications of this are when we see in terms of, when people say, if God is all-pervasive, why should I go to temple? God may be all-pervasive, but in a temple when we go, there are ways and means by which that energy or that pure consciousness which is pervading is invoked in a specific way. There you experience it much more clearly, we should say. Otherwise there is no need to get up. Somebody says God is all pervasive, so he is there in my house also. If he is in my house, he is in my bedroom. If he is in my bedroom, he is under the pillow also and the blanket also. So why should I get up? I will not get up, I won't go to the temple. But that's what is it called? Kutarka. It's a fallacious logic. Because I am not experiencing it. I am only intellectualizing it, saying God is all pervasive. Same way, we can say I can play music anywhere. But then why do I need a specific room with proper, sound system and all that? And then if I want to play music, then I will play it there. Then the effect of that is very different. If I want to play tennis, I will go to a court and I will play there. I can play anywhere. So though Atma is all pervasive, it is experienced only in the pure heart, in the buddhi. Same way Bhagwan may be all pervasive, but when we go to the temple, it has its own beauty and power because the saints or whoever a great master is has invoked that power specifically in the murti there. Prana Pratishtha is done, yantra can be put below that. And then every day thousands of people coming there and worshipping, so vibrations are there. So when we go to a place like that, then our mind will become quiet. So a person who understands that very well knows that there is a significance that is called Mahatmya of that place, the Sthala Purana it is called. The origin of that place, how did it build, how did it get developed, who was the person who established it. So each place has its own significance. And that's one of the reasons why we do all these yatras and all these. Many people think that what is the need of going all these? They are human being created anyways. So they trivialize it. But they will not say what is the use of going to a theater, what is the use of going to a disco. That is also human created only. So suppose there are, in our culture, how many different circuits are there? No, Ashtavinayak will be there, Char Dham will be there, Dwadash Jyotirling will be there. So many. So if a person says, I have to complete this, I have completed this already. So when one goes to these places, it is not that concentration of Atma is more here and it is less there. It is not like that. Like simplest example for that today that we can understand is the cell phone waves. These waves are everywhere in the environment. But then why I need a phone only to talk? Because the phone has that ability to receive, translate it, and then we are able to communicate. So in the same way, these temples are like these specific places. It need not be only temples, it can be any such place where we invoke divinity, where we see the expression of divinity. Like Himalayas we go, then we see that so many rishis have spent so much time there, done a lot of tapasya there, the vibration there is very different. So one will experience that. Because there is purity, because there is tapasya, because there is introvertedness, sadhana, all that. So same way here. Atma is all pervasive, but the verse is to not intellectualize it, verse is to actually make us realize that though it is all pervasive, am I feeling it everywhere? A man of realization feels it everywhere. So if that person doesn't go to a temple, it makes no difference because he's already realized that Atma is everywhere. Now I have not realized that, then I intellectualize saying Atma is everywhere. And anyway there is no, that Atma is finally me only, so why should I even go anywhere? That is all confusion because one has not understood the levels properly. So, no. If they have reached that level, they will never say anything like that. Because then they experience Atma everywhere. Then they will never say it at all. All the great masters, if you see, they have had no conflict in going to any temple or anywhere. Though they have realized the truth. They see it everywhere. So their behavior in the temple also, their behavior outside the temple also, their behavior with the animals, plants, birds and inert things, it will all be similar. That Atma alone is all this. And I am that one consciousness. So they don't have a problem. The problem is only with the intellectualizing and not doing the sadhana. Which is why Vedanta has to be understood very clearly. Many people study Vedanta to suit their convenience. And they study Vedanta to justify their wrong conclusions. Like if they don't want to go to a temple, or they don't want to do upvas, or they don't want to do any of this puja, japa, etc., they will say, anyway I am Brahman. What is the point of doing any of this? I am Brahman only. But are you living like Brahman? So intellectualizing is one aspect. But if I understand intellectually clearly, it has to translate into my heart and my hands. What I understand in my head, if it doesn't translate into heart and hands, then that is just information, which Shankaracharya calls, it is an overload. And the example he gives is very hard hitting. What is the example he gives? It is like a donkey carrying golden bricks. The donkey carrying golden bricks doesn't know the value of the golden bricks. For the donkey, what is the golden bricks? It's just a load. Same way, I can study book after book. It will only be a load. Till it actually percolates into my heart and my hands, it is only a load. So when he says Swacheshu Pratibimbavat, we have to do that. Let the Atma be realized. For that, the cleansing of the mirror has to happen. That is our buddhi. With sadhana, I have to cleanse it. So sadhana, seva, sanyam, swadhyay, 4 aspects to cleanse this buddhi. They both are very, very important. Are these 4. Swadhyay is study. So to gain the knowledge properly. In the knowledge there should not be confusion. Swadhyay, study. Then sadhana. Do some sadhana. One should ask oneself, how much sadhana am I doing? Do I go to temple? Do I do yatra? Do I do japa? Do I do upvas? Do I get up early? What sadhana am I doing? Then live in sanyam, self-control. Some discipline, some rules should be there. Otherwise, eat anytime, sleep anytime, eat anything, meet anybody, talk anything, speak anything. A seeker has to live in sanyam. If sanyam is not there, what will I do? And seva. Sanyam means discipline. Self-control actually it means. Self-control and discipline. And
Because then we will do a bit of everything. When you take the balance of everything, that's when you work against it.
yeah, so extreme, one should not go into the extreme. But what one should do in balance also should be what is permissible. Otherwise, people do impermissible things also and they'll say imbalance. I'll drink alcohol in balance. Moderation. If you want to realize Atma, then that has to go. No, I can't leave that. Little is good for my body. Okay, continue. Justification, if it is a medicine thing, a different thing, completely no issue with that. But how many do it like that? Majority will do it only for pleasure only. And seva is the last one. But seva will help to reduce our rajoguna. Rajoguna, rajasic tendency, greed, attachment, selfishness. Seva will help to reduce that. Genuinely, when it is done with the bhava of selflessness, where I want nothing, I am only here to give and serve. That is purification. The buddhi becomes pure. Atonement, yes, it can help in atonement, but that karma phala cannot be escaped. It can help in not repeating it again. That way it will purify the mind. But when the karma phala has to come, that will come. So these 4 when we do, then that is called cleansing. This cleansing has to happen. Swacheshu pratibimbavat. Now that process takes time. So one has to do this with patience and with alertness. One cannot expect overnight. See, the cleansing of the mirror is very fast. Some 4 or 5 times you just rub it, is all clean. Ho gaya. Now this is dirt accumulated over so many lives. One should not say, "Arey, I am trying for so many days but nothing happens. I don't think it is working." It will take some time. Now, one more aspect in this is this. Suppose you are cleaning the mirror. As you clean the mirror, somebody goes on putting more.
That's
What will you do? How much ever you clean it, again and again it will become dirty only. So what happens to us when we are doing sadhana, seva, sanyam, swadhyaya, for some time the mind is on track. Again after some time it goes, does some contrary behavior, again it comes back. It's back and forth goes on happening. The strange part happens in this is, when this back and forth happens that I am living a life of a sadhak, then again I compromise, again I come back to sadhak. After some time the mind says, I don't think you are made for sadhana, so one leaves the sadhana. And then settles down for compromise. Arey, ulta you should do. Because guilt will come, shame will come, the feeling of heaviness will come when one compromises, which one doesn't want to face, one doesn't like. Then one says, I think I am not ready for it. Let me indulge for some more time, and then when I am ready, I will see. That will never happen. Because at some point or the other, some vasana of the past will come out when I start walking the path. It will force me. Till I don't have that strong conviction and willpower not to compromise, this will go on happening. So, I don't have to give up sadhana, I have to give up compromising. And even if I compromise, again come back, forgive oneself, ask the Lord for more strength, again walk the path. Drop the guilt, drop the regret, say that the goal is there, that's what I have to reach. So I will keep walking. Regret, guilt, shame, all that is not going to help. It's adding extra burden. So these are different aspects of sadhana. One has to keep what Vedanta says in the Upanishad, Charaiveti, Charaiveti. Keep on moving. Don't stop. And don't give up the path. Because this path is such, it is not easy. But the goal which has to be reached is immortality. Which is my true self actually. I am out to reclaim my own true self. In that, once I know that there is no other choice. Is there any choice to know the self or not? No. Then I will not give up the path. The reason why we give up is because we think it is optional. Sometimes it's okay, I can give up. No need to struggle so much. Because the clarity is not there. That's why Swadhyaya is the first step. Proper knowledge has to be there. What I seek, there is only one method, and that is to know the self. Fulfillment can come only through knowing the self. Nothing else in the world can give fulfillment. No matter what it is. It will give only temporary pleasure. So if that becomes very clear, that this is what I have to achieve. Atma Sakshatkar is the ultimate. There is nothing beyond that, and there is nothing other than that which will make me fulfilled. Till that I will keep feeling incomplete. So if I really want to get out of incompleteness, what should I do? Keep walking to realize the self. What has to be done for it? These four. No matter how much I may get distracted or how much I may compromise, the solution is only to come back to sadhana and start walking again. Simplest example for that is if you get distracted and suppose you are going from Mumbai to Pune. You have to go to Pune. But now in Lonavala you got distracted. So you took a detour. What is that place? Fudge, they give. One place that fudge is very goopers. Batata vada, Cooper ka fudge, vada pav, whatever it is. Now if one gets distracted there, what is the solution? Can I say, go on saying, what a stupid fellow I am, I got distracted, now I don't want to go back. That is the example is simple, that they are not doing anything wrong. You move on. No? In the same way, one has to come back to the path and start walking. So many people, they give up. Lonavala example has a limitation there.
Starts raining in Lonavala, then you don't want to go to Pune, you go back to Bombay.
So some people may go back to Bombay, some people don't want to go to Pune, some people will stay in Lonavala only for many days. So many things happen. Sadhana, how many people start and how many people reach? Ultimately everybody has to reach. They will reach only. But people take long time. Why do we take long time? Because we compromise and then we give up, and our mind only plays tricks, saying you are not ready for it. You are not fit for it. You have so many vices, or you have so many attachments, or you love comfort so much that sadhana path is not for you. The mind is there, he is happy to pull down. That's where the swadhyaya comes, that's where the buddhi comes. So intellectual conviction and sharpness is not in rejecting sadhana, it is in bringing the mind back to sadhana. Today I am using my intellectual conviction for what? To not do sadhana. In the name of being an intellectual, I am using my buddhi not to do sadhana. Questioning all the time, being skeptic all the time, and rejecting all the methods of sadhana, saying how does this help in any ways? Does God even exist? You are chasing something which is a fantasy of a human mind created. So many things people tell. That skepticism gets into the head, no? That is one big danger. I'm not saying we should not inquire. I'm not saying we should not ask questions. But sometimes we just repeat something like a parrot. That when it gets inside, that is another impurity only. Instead of the mirror becoming clean, the mirror becomes more dirty. So all kinds of wrong notions get into the head. God does not exist. Heaven and hell does not exist. There is only one life. Who has seen past and who has seen the future lives? All that is such shallow argument, because it all depends only on sense perception. If I see something, that is real. If I don't see it, it is not real. Bas. That much of trust I have on the senses, which are what? Which are not even showing me the truth. At the physical level, what I see, is it real? Blue color I see in the sky, is it real? It is not real. Certain sounds I cannot hear. Does that mean they don't exist? No, they exist. So if I place all my trust in the senses and I believe only what I see, and then on the basis of that I am skeptic, saying who has seen, what is the proof? And the best part is, even if you give proper proof, they will still not want to believe. Very rigid and adamant in their thinking. That is a big impurity. Simplest example for that is reincarnation. No matter how many proofs you give for reincarnation, they will still not believe that there is life after this death and you will take a form again. People don't believe only. Logic of cause and effect is given. Experiential proof is given. Child prodigies, people who remember their past lives, documented cases, then near-death experience, xenoglossia, where the child has not learned that language at all, but the child will speak in that language. How is that all possible? So many proofs are there for reincarnation. One will not believe. So intellectual rigidity and inflexibility is also another impurity. So skepticism, intellectual rigidity, inflexibility, all these are impurities which will not allow the person to do sadhana. These have to be removed. And that's why swadhyaya is the first aspect. A proper understanding, then reflection has to happen. So swadhyaya has two meanings. One meaning of swadhyaya is study of scripture, and other meaning of swadhyaya is to study oneself. Swa-adhyaya. So the study of scripture must lead me to study about myself. That what are my ideas, what are my beliefs, are they in tune with the scripture? If they are not, then what is the scripture saying? Can I be open-minded enough to accept those logical conclusions and let go of my old wrong ideas? Then only progress can happen. Otherwise, progress will not happen. I still want to hold on to my old thing. And they'll say, all said and done, I still don't believe in it. Okay, you take your time, but at least think about it and come to conclusion properly. I have seen so many people studying even Vedanta for many, many years. They will still not believe certain things. And the most fundamental in that will be existence of the Atma or God. Somewhere it has gone inside that it is a creation of human being to control the society. That's it. Please, we should know it is a seed and a thought planted in our head by people. It's not real. But that one doesn't understand. So Swadhyay means that I should study the book and then also study myself. That what are my thoughts and feelings. If I am not convinced about something, can I bring myself to that conviction? And if I am able to reject completely logically the thought process given in the scripture, then I have all rights to hold on to my opinion. But if I am not able to do that, and it is very convincing in the scripture that this is the truth, then I should be open enough to accept. Then that is called true intellectual inquiry. Any scientist who is really a scientist will inquire with an open mind and come to conclusions. Will not be rigid in the opinions. If they become rigid in their opinions, then new discoveries and knowledge cannot happen. That is called scientific blinder. There are some people who are blinded by their own conclusions also. So that one should avoid. So now for today we will stop here.
So, Swami, that means Prahlad was able to invoke Narasimhaji because he had the clarity. If I'm in trouble and I try to invoke, it doesn't happen.
No, it is not just he had clarity, it is also that he had devotion, no? And bhav is there. Both are important. Both have to come together. Whoever has that clarity and bhav together, yeah, not only saved by God, they can do so many things which are otherwise not possible. Like Jnaneshwar Maharaj can command a wall to move. How is it possible? How can you tell an inert thing to follow you? You can tell a sentient thing to follow, that also they will follow or not, we don't know. But how do you command an inert thing? Because they come to that level where they lose their ego completely. Then they experience oneness, complete oneness. Like today we have oneness in the body, so our brain can send a signal to any part of the body. There are exercises. You can train your body for specific parts to move, which are otherwise not capable of moving. Certain muscles, they will just move. That is a training you are giving. Because you see the feeling of oneness is there in the whole body. Same way they have feeling of oneness with the whole creation. That Bhagavan is all-pervasive. So now, when they feel that as well as they have the clarity, many things can be done. So anybody will be able to do that. Whoever that person is. If Mirabai can drink a glass of poison and not die, what does that mean? Sita can enter into fire and not get burnt only. So like that one should come to that level of the identifying with the most fundamental. Satchidananda is the most fundamental aspect. Om asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.